Hey, what's going on, guys? Just a quick video about the recent update to the OpenAI API. I was putting together videos for my series, my tutorial series, but they decided to throw a bit of a spanner in the works. So if we have a look at what they announced, there are a few points here, but I would like to draw your attention to just one of these points, right? And it's the major one, I think, for most of us. Cost reduction is good, but the 16K context length. So previously this was 4K, right? And so what does that mean? So a rough calculation would be 3/4 times the context length. So previously we could do 3,000 words, and now obviously we can just multiply that by 4 and we can do 12,000 words. And I think what this does is it opens up summarizing most documents such as scientific articles. I think it's very purposeful that they chose that limit, because a lot of those applications that they probably saw people doing was summarizing articles, staying up to date with all the AI news just got a lot easier, right? So now you can just chuck that in there and do the summarization. Okay, and what does that look like? So if you've seen my previous video, this is basically the first file or the first thing that I covered. And so now it's a real world example of how you don't really need, for this case, a chat interface, and that's all you need. And I just prepended this section. All this is doing is it's loading in a PDF, right? And then it's concatenating all that text to the page text. I made it a little bit smart because most papers have references, and you don't want to, and that's a lot of tokens, a lot of characters. And usually after the reference, you also have appendix, And so I said, look, if you find references with a capital R, just stop it. Just stop reading it. Now that may be too strict in some cases, right? The word references might appear in the paper, but this is just a toy example, right? And then all I do is I just say, store that in text, summarize text in 200 words, right? So if we run that, so I'll bring that up here. I have to activate my OpenAI environment, Python, PDF summary minimal, hit enter. And it's done it, right? So I'll bring that in a bit. It's done that. The paper introduces music gen, a model for conditional. We can have a look at that. I think it was in PDFs, right? PDFs paper. And so just to show you that is the paper, right? It's music gen, which actually is interesting because it doesn't. Oh yeah, here it is. It doesn't have it in the title, right? So music gen, and then that's the paper. So you obviously can read that at your leisure. And look, as I mentioned with the references, so you don't really want to be parsing all that information and costing you tokens. And then they also have an appendix, and so it's sort of summarized all of that in here. Obviously, the next steps would be something like chat to docs and so forth, and maybe I'll make a video on that. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, this file is linked in the description.